Hey guys, it's me, Svenny McG. I'm back again today with a video I'm very excited about. In one of my recent videos, I mentioned how I'd gone to Sudbury for the Northern Game Expo. It was much like a swap meet and a good place to go and buy and find a lot of good retro video games. But what I didn't mention was that Saturday night they hosted a special event, an evening with Syd Bolton, Canada's top video game collector. At the Saturday night event, Syd hosted a little panel where he discussed Canada's contributions to video games. Syd went through different things like some recent discoveries that he's uncovered, some upcoming projects, and some lesser known systems from Canada, including Canada's own Game Wave. Syd also had many games on display, including a complete Microvision collection. There was also a whole variety of games available to play, such as an Amiga CD, an Atari 2600, a Magnavox Odyssey, a Commodore 64, and the Game Wave itself. Syd was gracious enough to take the time to allow me to ask him a couple questions about what makes Canada's top game collector tick. So let's check it out and see what Syd had to say. Guys, I'm here with Syd Bolton, Canada's top video game collector, and I'm fortunate enough today to get to ask him a few questions. So Syd has up to 18,000 video games.
That's a lot of video games.
Which of course means he has a lot of storage. Syd, where do you keep them?
Well, that's a good question. So there's a couple different things. There's a lot of video games at the Personal Computer Museum. I also have a lot of them in my basement. They've crept up into the upstairs part of the house as well. And then I actually have a storage facility too. So I've got that, and then we also have some of our video games on the road. So right now we have a traveling exhibit, so some of the games are in there. So they're kind of all over the place, but for the most part, the majority of them are actually in my basement.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So they're easy to access, which is important with your video games.
That's awesome.
Let's ask you, how did you start?
Well, you know, I've loved video games ever since I was a kid. So when I first got a hold of a video game, I loved it. I was, I think, probably 7 or 8. And then I realized that video games were really great on computers. And so I started playing them on computers. And then, you know, I started getting into consoles and all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of started collecting because I was really interested in playing video games. And then someone offered me an Atari really cheap with a bunch of games. And I was like, why do I want that? Because by that time it was kind of old. But you know what? I always wanted an Atari secretly. So when I saw Pitfall, that was it. I was like, you know what? I have to have this Atari with the Pitfall and a bunch of the other stuff. I think I paid $20 for like the system and like 30 cartridges. I thought, this is really inexpensive. So I then started putting out classified ads. Yes, folks, that's when we had classified ads in the newspaper. And I just started telling people, you know what? Sell me your old Atari and Television, Coleco, whatever. And I just started buying up systems. The next thing you know, I had hundreds and hundreds of video games, and it all started there.
Fantastic. Syd, you do summer camps at the PC Museum.
Yeah.
What does that entail?
Well, you know, a video game camp is pretty cool. It's kind of a new concept. But basically what we do is we take the kids and we introduce them to first, every morning when they're still fresh and awake and listening, we actually teach them video game history. So that's the first thing we do. And then every day is a little bit different. So sometimes we have tournaments. So for example, we'll find out who's the best at Pong, or who's the best at Pac-Man. And then, of course, you know, I always like to introduce them to stuff they've never tried before, but then I also will then introduce them to things that they're familiar with, Smash Brothers, things like that. I also found that it was pretty important to let the kids do some of their stuff on their own time. So they were able to explore, you know, video games in a way that they're used to it. And so that was important. And then we also brought in some video game developers to talk to them about the process of how video games are actually made. And that was a real big part of it. And then finally we capped off the week, you know, of course, with some pizza and then some VR. So they got to experience maybe something that they didn't have at home. And so that and a lot of other things in between were what we do at these video games camps. And it's a lot of fun.
That sounds great. Now, beyond kids camps, do you do anything for adults?
You know, I actually thought about running a video game camp for adults. I haven't done it yet, but stay tuned. Of course, most adults can't take that kind of time off during the summer months, but I'm thinking about running an all-day camp on a Saturday for adults. And we do some of the same things. It'll be condensed, but I've also got some really good video game group activities that I've been working on, and some team building exercises related around video games, and I think those would be great at a video game camp for adults. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to have something soon, I think, to announce.
Well, shoot me a message, Sid. I'll be your first.
Sounds good.
What advice do you have for a beginning collector, for kids, retro collecting, etc.?
Well, at the end of the day, video game collecting has to be fun, just like the video games that we are collecting. So if you take it too seriously or get too worked up about it, it's not going to be fun. Collecting can be very rewarding. I found it very rewarding over the years. But one of the biggest things I suggest to people is don't do what I do, which is try to collect for everything. Pick your battles, pick a specific collection that you want to collect, and then break it up into subsets. So whether it's by genre or by, if you're trying to get a complete Nintendo 64, then maybe start out by, try to collect all the Mario games, or try to collect all the Zelda games, or maybe split it up by genre, try to get all the sports games, or if you want to go on the easy side first, usually, or maybe leave the sports games to the end. Like, it just depends. So there's so many different ways to sort of crack the collecting thing. So most important thing is to keep yourself motivated along the way. The best way to do that is to have some successes. So break that collection up into different obtainable pieces and sets so that it's not so overwhelming. Trying to tackle something like the PlayStation 2 is incredibly difficult, and you're not going to start out trying to get all of them. Try to get some of them first, break that collection down, give yourself those successes, and before you know it, you'll have a complete collection of something, and you'll feel good about it.
That's great advice. In fact, one of the recent ones I started on was getting the original Xbox console exclusives.
Yep.
In fact, I just bought a half dozen of them from you today, so thank you.
There you go. That's a great way to do it, and it makes the pain of collecting a little bit more easy to digest.
I'm going to shoot a couple quick questions here at you, and let's see what you got here. What is your favorite PC?
My favorite PC, like in terms of overall, like computer of all time?
Yes.
I have to say the Commodore 64. It was a machine that I spent so much time with when I was a teenager. Learned how it worked. I played video games on it. I made video games on it. I just spent so much time with it, And although the Amiga is a close second and so much technically better and all these other things, I still have more fond memories of just playing with the 64. The Amiga I made my living from. The 64 I made my fun with. So that's I think why it's the one that I would cite as my favorite computer of all time.
What about your favorite console of all time?
My favorite console, it's so difficult to choose from all my children, but I would have to say it's probably the PlayStation 2, only because it has a lot of the franchises that I've really loved over the years, like Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter and Sly Cooper. Those were some of my all-time favorite franchises, and those were available on the PlayStation 2. So I think I have to say that. I mean, I really do enjoy the Xbox as well, though. I find maybe it's because Microsoft was a bit of an underdog in the video game world and managed to do some great things. And I also had a lot of fun on that Xbox. So, but I definitely say overall, I think it's a PlayStation 2.
It's a diverse set
Diverse
of games,
library for sure. Absolutely.
What would be your favorite game?
My favorite game is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Used to be Ocarina of Time, but you know what? Breath of the Wild, for me, overall has surpassed it. I mean, it's got such great game design, so much fun. I love the world. I love the characters. I love Link, and I've spent so many hours in that world, and it's a combination of the music, the graphics, the gameplay, the lore, and overall, that's definitely my favorite game.
It's really something special. I've got some hours in it as well, and you can definitely get lost in there very quick.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
What is your favorite era of gaming?
I have to say that the golden age of the arcade for me was important and probably my favorite era, because it still made me think about what was important in terms of what made a video game fun. And so, when Dragon's Lair came out, that changed who I was and how I thought about video games, what I played, and all that kind of stuff. So, and of course, playing Pac-Man, and that's really when I remember playing Star Castle and thinking to myself, like, I'm Han Solo and I'm on the Millennium Falcon, and that's what I'm doing here right now. And so I think that was the first time that I realized that video games could help you be someone you're not and take you to worlds that you just never thought possible. And so that's what's really great about video games, and that's why for me it's such great escapism entertainment, and part of the reason why I love them so much. And so I think for me the golden age of the arcades was my favorite.
Well, that's all great. That's great. And finally here, what's your favorite pizza?
Oh, my favorite pizza. That's a tough one. So in Brantford, there's a place called Stromboli's that makes something. It's a sweet sauce. A Stromboli's brick oven sauce is the name of it. It's very sweet, and I love that pizza, even if it's just pepperoni. Now, overall, I would say I love a pizza currently, because my tastes do change, but I love a pizza that has sausage on it, green pepper, onions. Got to have some onions on there, and pepperoni is always good. I mean, load that thing up.
That's
why not, right? And maybe even put some tomatoes on it. Like, they don't have to be in the oven, but man, tomatoes on a pizza I find lately are really good. So that's what I like. But Stromboli's in Brantford, definitely overall my favorite pizza place, and that brick oven sauce is awesome. And obviously I love pizza. Pizza, so good.
Well, thanks again, Syd.
Yeah.
Where can people find you online?
So for more information about what I do at the Personal Computer Museum, you can visit pcmuseum.ca, and you can look at my completely outdated website at sydbolton.com. That's Syd with a Y. But yeah, check those things out, and you can Google me and find me in different places too, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. But the main place to go, pcmuseum.ca.
Well, thank you again, Syd, for your time, and we appreciate talking with you.
No problem.
And all the best.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What a pleasure it was to be able to speak with Syd Bolton, Canada's top video game collector. Thank you again so much, Syd, for your time. You know how much I appreciated it, and it was really great to speak with you both off and on camera. And thank you, friends, as well, for watching today. Please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed today's video. And please leave a comment, let me know what you think. And until next time, take care, be good to each other.